Hi, so today is about this Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation. So I have tried a lot of foundations from Dior Forever line, but never this one. And I have always been curious to try this, but for some reason I didn't. I guess it's because I already have too much foundation. And this one, I didn't buy it actually. This is from an online retailer that I use a lot, and they have basically it's like a sample or a gift project where you can apply to, and if the brand choose you, they will send the product, either the full size or a sample, for you to try. So luckily enough, I got this one because I applied to this foundation when I saw this one on their website. So because I didn't buy this, the shade is probably not gonna work for me. This is 1N, which I usually use 1.5W or 2W, which is a very olive undertone. And this is, I think it is either would be too pink or too orange to me, because N stands for neutral, I believe. And they also sent a little sample size of their skin correct concealer. Yeah, their concealer. I actually have this in full size, but my shade is a little too dark for the under eye. And this shade I think will be nice for my under eye. This is also in the shade 1N. And they also sent 2 little sample of this Forever Skin Veil. So it's a primer. I'm gonna use this primer on half of my face just to see if it's gonna really make a difference. And this is the shade 001. I don't know if they have multiple shades or what. It's a very pale skin colored. It looks like something that will brighten your complexion. Yeah, it's pretty white. And there is SPF 20 in it, so maybe that's why it's this white. The foundation, I actually have this one, the Natrual Nude foundation, and I thought this would be the same concept, so I am a little bit curious of, you know, what's the difference between this Skin Glow and that Natural Nude. Okay, I will just apply this using my beauty blender. On my hand is super orange. I think we would have to use a darker powder to adjust this shade different. Just by putting it on, I don't find it to be very glowy, which on the camera it looks like it's very glowy on this area, but in real life it's not. Even this side looks a little bit glowier than this side. It's satin, leaning to a little bit more glowy maybe, but not a very glowy foundation. Yeah, it has a little bit glow, I would say, but not like super glowy or anything. I'm not surprised by this because I don't picture them to do a very super glowy foundation. Maybe that's why they say skin glow. So it's not like, it doesn't look like it's glowy from a product, it's glowy like skin. So yeah, this is quite a skin kind of finish. The shade is obviously a little bit pink compared to my neck, but it's not too bad. I feel like when I'm blending it out, it sort of blend better with my skin tone. Pretty much used up all I have on the back of my hand. That's one pump for quite a thin layer all over my face, and so far I really like it. I feel like even though the shade looks so pink, so orange on the back of my hand. Blending it very well, it kind of melts better on my skin tone. It's not like super noticeable shade difference than my neck. I would say it's a true neutral shade. And I think the skin glow is, like I said, it's not like a super glowy finish at all. It's just a skin finish leaning a little bit more glowy, even though it looks like oily on the camera, but it's just the camera. In real life, it looks like you are wearing a quite moisturizing moisturizer kind of glow. I want to put on a little bit of this sample skin correct concealer. Oh, and this 1N shade of concealer is very nice. I feel like it's brightening up my under eye just a little bit. It's pretty much just same shade with the foundation, but maybe because it has a little bit more coverage, so it looks a little bit brighter under my eye. Like I always do, I want to do a shade like swatch of other foundations, but because this shade isn't a shade I would choose, so I don't know how helpful that is. Nowadays, a lot of places, the counter won't let you swatch. Hopefully this would be a little bit more helpful for you. So I have gathered the foundation that I want to have a swatch comparison, which is the other two Dior foundations in different formula. And this Nars foundation, I think this Natural Radiant foundation is very popular. Armani Luminous Silk foundation, very popular as well. And this Colourpop foundation, when this came out, I believe a lot of people like this, so probably a lot of people will have this. Let's just start to swatch the one that I used today. You can see the texture. It's runny, but it's not like super runny. So it's like a thicker liquid formula sort of thing. And mine are in the shade 1N. Stands for 1 neutral, I believe. And this Natural Nude foundation. Actually, I think the finish is pretty similar. And I am in the shade 2W, so this would be much darker and much yellowy, because this is a pretty olive foundation. Actually, the texture is quite different. I don't know if you can tell. This one looks much thinner than this one, the Natural Nude foundation. I blend a little bit of each on my arm. This is the Natural Nude one, and this is the one we used today, Skin Glow. Finish is pretty similar. Maybe the Natural Nude one is even a little bit more glowy. The matte version of the Skin Glow foundation. Pretty much the same formula with the skin, not formula, texture with the Skin Glow. And you can see the shade is 1.W. 1.5W. You can see it's much pinkier and a little bit peachy. It almost looks like a color corrector compared to this one. This one is still a little bit light, or may I say like a pink for me. So this shade, these two shades blends together is quite a good shade for me. But somehow this shade worked for me. So this is the Skin Glow, and this is the matte one. It's much more matte finish wise than the Skin Glow one, but I want to say that the coverage isn't that different. They are all at the medium coverage range. The Nars one, this is much more of an olive, warm olive shade. It's the shade Fiji. Can see these are my normal shades. Armani, I am in the shade 4, and this is a light olive shade as well. And actually the texture is quite close as well. It's like a thicker liquid as well. Luminous silk is a little bit thinner when it blends out. The last one, the Colourpop Pretty Fresh foundation. I am in the shade Light 50W, also a very warm shade. The Colourpop one would be a little bit more liquidy, I want to say. Once again, this is a Dior Skin Glow in the shade 1N, Forever Natural Nude foundation in the shade 2W, and this is the Forever foundation, the matte one, in the shade 1.5W. And this is Nars Natural Radiant foundation in the shade Fiji, Armani Luminous Silk in the shade 4, and Colourpop Pretty Fresh foundation in the shade Light 50W. I hope that's helpful for you. Now let's set our foundation. So for my under eye, I will use a translucent powder. This is from a Japanese brand 3. Just on my under eye and T-zone. And all over my face, I'm using this Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Macro Powder. I'm in the shade 2 Medium. This shade is a little bit too dark for me right now because I didn't get sun at all in the summer. It's fixing the shade or the undertone difference a little bit because this powder is pretty warm yellow undertoned. I think you can see a little bit of undertone difference. This side is a little bit more pink. And I will just using a very light layer. And my base is looking pretty flawless. But I have to say, the primer, I don't notice a difference between the sides. I apply the primer like around this section and I don't see a difference other than this area looks a little bit lighter, just a tiny bit lighter. I don't know how I feel about this primer. I don't really use primer in the daily basis as well, so I guess I'm not the right person to review a primer. So now I've finished my whole look and I want to talk about how I feel about this foundation. Well, every product I have put on top blends very nicely. As always, Dior foundations never makes anything patchy and they never go patchy on itself. For the coverage, it's like the Dior foundation kind of coverage, like a medium coverage. And I just rarely see them come out with like super sheer foundation, like other than the face and body, because that's not a foundation. And also they never have a like too much coverage kind of foundation, like a very full coverage. They're all beautiful medium coverage foundation that you can sheer it out. You can also build it up to a fuller coverage, which I really like. And this one is the same. I almost want to say this is my favorite formula among all of their other foundations in this range. Including this one, I have 4 foundations from this Dior Forever line. Is this 4? Dior Undercover foundation. And this is the matte one of that foundation we tried today. And this Natural Nude foundation. I want to say this one is my favorite among these 4. It's somewhere in the middle of all of this. It's not a very matte finish, but it's not super glowy. Like the name, Skin Glow. It's just like your skin glows. The medium coverage is very nice and it's not settling on any of my pores, which happens a lot with other foundations, but Dior foundation just never does that to me. none of their foundations ever settled into my pores. When it comes to foundation, Dior definitely does a lot of my favorite. And this one, it might be the best foundation I ever tried from Dior. And I really appreciate that online retailer decided to choose me to gift me this one. And that's all I have to say. Yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.